Welcome to How I AI, the podcast featuring real people, real stories, and real AI in action. I'm Brooke Gramer, your host and guide on this journey into the real-world impact of artificial intelligence. For over 15 years, I've worked in creative marketing, events, and business strategy, wearing all the hats. I know the struggle of trying to scale and manage all things without burning out. But here's the game changer, AI. This isn't just a podcast. How I AI is a community, a space where curious minds like you come together, share ideas, and I'll also bring exclusive discounts and insider resources because AI isn't just a trend, it's a shift. And the sooner we embrace it, the more freedom, creativity, and opportunities will unlock. How I AI is brought to you in partnership with the Collective AI, a space designed to accelerate your learning and AI adoption. I joined the Collective and it's completely catapulted my learning, expanded my network, and showed me what's possible with AI. Whether you're just starting out, seeking community, or want done-for-you solutions, the Collective gives you the resources to grow your business with AI. So stay tuned to learn more at the end of this episode, or check my show notes for my exclusive invite link. More and more of you have been reaching out, wanting to share your stories, how you're using AI, what you're experimenting with, what you're building behind the scenes, and honestly, I love it. This is what How I AI is really about. Not just big moments or big names, but the ripple effect. It's about highlighting the quiet builders, the innovators in unexpected spaces, and amplifying each other as we grow together in this era of new possibility. Today, we're diving into a Power Series episode. These are shorter conversations with incredible guests in varying industries, showing us how AI is being applied in creative, intentional, and sometimes unexpected ways. My first guest today is Maya. What makes her story so powerful is that she's not a tech founder by background. She's a healthcare worker and a mom who needed a solution for her baby's food allergies. She made a courageous move, taught herself to build an app with AI. In just a few months, she went from journaling in her notes to launching a tool now used by over 175 moms who are navigating the same challenges. Her journey shows what's possible when you lean into AI as a partner, even when you've never considered yourself technical. All right, let's get into the conversation. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Brooke Gramer. Today, I have a very special guest. Her name is Maya Bundesen-Magier. She's a mother of two, and she built a really exciting platform called MapMyMilk, vibe coding on Bolt. I'm really excited to have you on today's episode, Maya. Welcome to How I AI.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. I always like to start my episodes and open the floor. Would you like to share a little bit about yourself and your background and how you ended up where you are now?
Yeah, sure. So, like you said, I'm a mom of two. I have a 8-month-old who's keeping me awake at night and a 3-year-old. And I'm actually not in tech at all. I'm a healthcare worker. I'm an occupational therapist. I work in a hospital. And not to get too much into the weeds, but with both my babies had this issue related to breastfeeding and food allergies, and I needed an app to sort of help me through it. And there was nothing like what I needed on the market. And that's when I found out about vibe coding, which I can get into later. And here we are. I was able to make it, and I have over 175 moms using it right now. So yeah, it's going great.
Wow. I want you to take me back to that first initial point where you wanted to lean into AI. Were you journaling? Were you just kind of trying to track this via notes on your app? At what point did you want to take this real life instance and problem that was unique to you as a mother and transfer this to using AI to support you?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, it started with basically the problem requires tracking of like what you're eating and how your baby is reacting. So that's like what you need to track when you're having the issue that I had with both of my babies, which is called cow's milk protein allergy, food protein intolerance. And yeah, trying to log as a, tired postpartum mom, trying to write down everything you're eating in your notes app while also adding baby symptoms in some sort of chronological order that you can wrap your head around, and then trying to make sense of the patterns in your notes app. I'm doing it in your notes app because there's just no app that does that. So there's food logging apps, right? For anyone who's like on a diet or who has IBS, and those apps have nothing to do with baby symptoms. And then there's tons of apps for babies that have nothing to do with mom's diet. And so what happened was I was working with a consultant who specializes in this, and she was asking me, she was there, she was a nurse, and she was there to help me sort of piece together what am I eating that's causing baby symptoms. And she asked me, she said, I need to see your food logs. And that's when I was kind of like, but this isn't work. The logs that I have like don't look like anything. They're not going to give you any organized information.
Yeah.
Um, and as an OT, I'm actually like, we're very familiar with a log. We have clients or patients fatigue logs, sleep logs. Like that's a big part of OT. We look at daily routines. It's very important to us and making them more productive and easier for people to live their daily lives. So that's just where my brain went. There has to be an easier way to do this. And I didn't even know about vibe coding actually when I started this. I thought I need to make an app for this and I'm going to hire a developer because I didn't know vibe coding existed. I can talk with you also about just my history with AI, which is minimal. It's minimal. I've always been behind the curve on technology. And I happened to talk to my sister about this, who's an entrepreneur, and she is vibe coding an app for sleep issues right now called
Mhm.
Sleepy Pal. And she was the one that was like, oh, you got to check out vibe coding. You can just make it yourself.
Yeah.
Because I was telling her I can't afford a developer right now. And so she told me about, I don't know if you want me to get into the platforms and all that, but that's sort of the how it all started, basically.
Thank you so much for sharing about your initial exploration with AI. Bring me back to that point where you did your research for hiring a developer. How did that go, and what made you ultimately decide, hey, I think I can do this myself?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I had no idea how much developers cost, and they're expensive. As a mom healthcare worker, I wasn't expecting to jump into like any kind of founder. I wasn't expecting to found a product. So I really wasn't in a place to invest a lot in this idea. So when I sort of just started doing research on how much does a developer cost, upwards of 10,000 for MVP. And that is kind of a roadblock for someone like me who's not ready to make a big investment in an idea and wants to sort of go a little bit slower and get things rolling and see how it goes before they invest more money. And so I tell people if I had not found vibe coding, this idea would have fallen flat pretty much before it even gotten started. And so over 175 moms using it right now, the resource wouldn't exist if it weren't for AI, which is, pretty amazing, I think.
That's incredible. And how did your community react to promoting and releasing this product? Were people hesitant to want to get on an app and use it to track their personal data? Do you feel like a lot of people have been welcoming with open arms?
The feedback was so positive, even more so than I was expecting, honestly. I mean, it started, so I think I looked before we had this podcast, this episode, I looked in my phone just to see it. It was May 14th when I opened up bolt.new. That was like the day one of starting to develop this, and I launched on July 30th. So less than 2 months it took me. And during that time, I was beta testing, I was spreading the word, and like 95% of people, immediate exclamation mark, thank God. You let me know when you launch. I need this right now because it was a gap in the market. And so cow's milk protein allergy is the number one infant allergy. It's the most common infant allergy. And without this resource, I mean, moms are just struggling. Like I said, they're tired, they're confused. There's no real good way to figure out what's going on. And so moms were desperate. And the beta testers all had amazing feedback for me. A few people suggested additional features, which I've since been able to roll out, actually, which has been really nice to sort of build it with the community. And yeah, everyone is just pumped that it exists now. So
That's amazing. Tell me about getting users on your platform. How are you steering people and getting the word out? Is it through social media, your personal network, or are you using any technology stacks to support you in that way?
So right now it's mainly through social media and it's through these support groups on Reddit and on Facebook. So there are private groups for moms struggling with this issue. I, as a mom struggling, I was in those groups, and it's usually moms venting or asking for support. And it's mainly been me sort of getting in there and talking with moms, like almost one-on-one. It really has been sort of a one-on-one process so far to get people using it. Just now as a baby product, I'm down the road, I would like to streamline that process more
Mhm.
in terms of getting more users, and I'm sure there are tech stacks to help me with that, and I need to learn more about that as well. So for now it's very just like go hunting down the moms who need it and letting them know that it exists.
You just really put yourself out there and had faith in your product. And I want to know if AI has changed the way you creatively think now and solve problems. Do you feel like there's been a shift?
Yeah, I'm bouncing my ideas off of AI tools now in a way that lets me think of problems in a way that I might not have before. So I think in the past, just in terms of any kind of creative process or problem solving, you just have your own insights and experiences and you just roll with that. And I'm able to sort of explore and dive deeper with those tools and ask, like, what am I not thinking of for this specific situation? And that's a really nice added piece to, yeah, any kind of process of development and problem solving.
I am curious if you had any initial challenges when it came with teaching yourself Bolt. Did you go on YouTube and figure out how to use this? How did you even learn how to vibe code?
I probably should have gone on YouTube. It probably would have saved me a lot of credits and time and headache. No, I didn't do that. I should have. I just dove in and it was very trial and error in terms of learning how to prompt the right way and most effectively, in terms of learning how to get out of some error loops that can happen, in terms of knowing when to just like hard refresh and leave it alone and come back later, when it starts hallucinating. No, I did not use any. This is very like my personality. I'm like, I don't like getting help. I just like figuring things out on my own. And for better or for worse, it probably took me longer. Like I probably could have used help and I probably could have launched sooner, but I did not. I just figured it out.
That's incredible. And I think it's really empowering to other mothers out there. I can imagine, I'm not a mother yet, but one day how many problems you're solving on a day to day basis. And I'm sure there are so many other things that aren't out there yet that need solutions. And just really commend you for all the work that you've done. I'm wondering if you have any other ideas of products you want to create now that you've made your first app and have like such incredible success in just 2 months. Are you thinking about any other things that you want to create? If you were to wave a magic wand and create something overnight, what would you want to make next?
Yeah, there are so many problems out there just for your everyday person moving through life. There are so many little pain points. And for me, like I made MapMyMilk because of a personal pain point that I was feeling related to breastfeeding and my baby. And, right now I'm focused on MapMyMilk, but for sure, there are other pain points in my life that could use an app off the top of my head related to like meal prep and probably this exists already, like through vibe coding, but something that takes your family grocery budget and takes your, family food preferences and takes your location circulars and puts together a grocery shopping list and a meal plan that stays within your budget, that stays within your family preferences, that stays within what's available at your store, and maybe even like online grocery puts it in the cart for you, and all you have to do is like press buy and it gets to you, and what to make. I mean, I'm just not a cook, and I hate meal prepping and cooking for the family. So that's another pain point. I'll put a pin in it maybe down the road. And it probably already exists. And if not, someone else should go make it.
So I love to open the floor and any personal thoughts and reflections that you'd like to share with listeners just getting into AI. And this can be targeted to mothers or women in general or AI beginners. What's one key takeaway you would like to share learning from your experience?
I have a lot of takeaways, and I think my number one like lesson, or that I hope someone would take out of hearing this or like learning about me and MapMyMilk, is that you don't have to be a tech person at all. Just to get started, for sure, you don't need to, but even to have success, you don't need to be a tech person. You don't need to have experience with AI. When I say I'm not a tech person, I mean, I am really, in the past, have been behind the curve. I was using ChatGPT for like the most basic things for the past 2 years, and I got started late even. So I was able to solve a problem for me and for many other women, just jumping in and giving it a try. So I think that would be the biggest takeaway for anyone who like has an idea, is to just get started and don't let your lack of experience or your feelings of intimidation get in the way, because you just get started and you see what happens.
I love that feedback. That's so sweet. One last thing is I always like to close for you to share more about how listeners can find MapMyMilk. How can they connect with you? How can they join your community?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So the app is a web app right now, and it's at www.mapmymilk.com, MapMyMilk. We are in the process of now trying to turn it into a mobile app in the app stores, but for now it functions in a browser and you can save it to your home screen and use it just like a mobile app. I'm also on Instagram, on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm trying to connect with as many moms, but also providers, GIs, dietitians, allergists, lactation consultants, anyone who's working with moms in this time, in this season of life where they're struggling. I would love to connect. So I encourage anyone to come check out the app and come connect with me personally.
And one quick follow-up question. What is the process of taking a web app to mobile? Is that difficult? Do you still do that in Bolt? I personally haven't experienced vibe coding yet. So is that a tricky process moving from web only to mobile app?
Yeah, it is intimidating me. There's just different ways to do it, and they vary in terms of what tech you're using and how fast it can take and what the end product is. So without getting too technical, right now I'm looking at sort of wrapping it, because I developed and designed MapMyMilk to work on a mobile device anyway. So it already looks like an app, and there's no reason it can't just be wrapped and then packaged for the app store. Yeah. So basically, it is tricky. I'm still taking my time looking into it, but at the same time, moms need this in the app store, and that's going to be an easier way for people to find me. So I'm walking the line of researching it, but trying to get it done fast. So stay tuned.
Well, we're definitely following along your journey and excited to see what's next for MapMyMilk and how it just continues to grow this year and next. And thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
My next Power Series episode guest is Jessica Campbell. She's a creative technologist, executive producer, and founder of Creative Currents. Jessica isn't someone who just talks about AI. She experiments, she prototypes, and teaches in ways that are refreshingly real. Stick around the end. Jessica drops a mic-worthy insight on the future of creative work that you won't want to miss. Let's dive in. Hi, everyone. Welcome to How I AI. I'm your host, Brooke Gramer. Today, I have a very special guest. Her name is Jessica Campbell. She's a creative technologist and executive producer who's helping bridge the gap between visionary ideas and real-world AI transformation. From leading workshops here in the city of Miami to designing immersive, human-first experiences for Fortune 500 brands. I'm super excited for today's conversation, Jessica. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Would you like to kick it off? I'd love to hear all about you and your background and how you ended up in the AI space.
Okay. So I started in tech in 2013. I'm from South Florida. I went to Barry. I actually graduated in '08 in like one of the first economic crashes.
Yeah.
And I moved to New York. I started in the jewelry industry.
Oh.
And I didn't like it at all. It's like actually one of the hardest industries to be in.
Really?
And I feel like tech ideally saved it because it's a lot of inventory. And I'm sure AI has saved it. I think anybody who works in jewelry can probably speak to that. But anyways, I started in tech when I took an opportunity to start all over in my early phases and took a spot as an executive assistant and then a coordinator in iHeartRadio. And it was honestly one of the best opportunities because it was right when they were creating their first iteration of their app. And it was like Product School 101. Mm-hmm. And I was sitting next to the creative director, the head of product, and like the VP of iHeart. And I got to see what it took to really think about creating a digital product. Mm-hmm. And it was in a moment where we got to move slow. So I really got to see how like things moved and how you think and how you're just think about just point A to point Z, which is if you work in tech or in any digital space and product is really just doesn't exist. Yeah. So I'm really thankful for that time. And since then, I bounced around in a few digital spaces. I went to an agency called Amirati, which became IBM. Really thankful for that spot. And then I went to an agency called Fantasy Interactive. I was there for 6 years. I think that's where I really got, like my Anna Wintour whip of this is how you need to move. This is how you need to look at how to execute. Yeah. And that's when the AI moment started to happen. So when I started thinking about AI is when everybody else started to think about AI, when ChatGPT came out into the scene. Yeah. And the exact moment was when ChatGPT came out. And I remember sitting in the office when my CEO came in at the time, and he said this exact stat of I think it was like the 10 million or the 100 million stat of it took 5 years for Facebook to get to 100 million users, and it took Instagram like 2 years, it took TikTok 1 year, and it took ChatGPT 2 months. And I remember my head going, yeah, oh my God. And I remember, and I went into, it was literally 3 months of a rabbit hole. I wasn't sleeping. I was constant. I signed up for every newsletter. I was playing with every app. I was really going deep and discovering and just really just playing with every type of use case I could. But I was also in a world where it was applicable to what I did. But I'm also like a really curious person. I'm a Gemini, but I was also in a space where it made sense. My job is, as you mentioned, a producer. So it's, a complicated type of role. I'm constantly having to figure out my clients' issues, working with designers and how to help them figure out the process for the projects that we get, like our budget, every type of issue that comes up across a project. So it was just naturally when AI came along, I was like, how can I make my job easier? But also, how can I figure out all these like different tools and processes and all of these different personal projects I had that were in my notes in my phone from all of these years, from like scripts I wanted to write or projects I wanted to get off the ground. What was really interesting is like when we had a project come across our desk in the agency, we had BP come to us and they said, basically, Harvard wants to work with us and basically look over our shoulder and observe how we can take the discovery process, which is in the agency world where it's like a 3 to sometimes 6 months process where they pay an agency like $1 million to give you a PDF to say, here's what we came up with. And like sometimes that gives you something, but it's usually just like a big idea in a PDF.
Yeah.
And sometimes you know what to do with that. Ideally, if you're working with the right place, you do. But they wanted us to see how we can take that process down to a 2-week process. So I worked with my managing director, a UX lead, a research lead, and I think like one other designer. And we worked for 2 months and we did that. And we came up with like this process where we worked with a handful of AI tools. We did this like collaborative prompting process. We built like 1,000 synthesized personas where basically we just created this database of synthesized people.
Yeah.
So that we can like test with them.
Yes.
And then it became a process that Harvard studied into an MBA program. It won a Fast Company Award. That opened my eyes to what could be done. And after that, I like built a startup and ended up opening my eyes to like, you know what, now I want to make creative current. So we could talk about that after. You told me this was a safe space to ramble, so that's what I'm here for.
No, I love hearing everybody's background and how they got to where they are in AI because we're all so different and we have unique journeys to where we are now. So thank you for expanding on where you were at when AI hit the map with ChatGPT and how you were able to really be at the forefront of leading that sandbox environment at your company and get creative and explore with AI. My next question for you is, could you share a little bit about your technology stack? What do you use now? Because like you mentioned, you have so many clients and personal projects and you have a startup. What does it look like day to day for you in AI and technology?
Yeah, my technology stack. So for my creative flow at work, the ones that I use the most, of course, are ChatGPT. Right now, my favorite one is Claude.
Okay. I've heard like really good things.
That is the one that's blowing my mind the most now. So I had a project where we had to like vibe code. That term is like kind of like gross a little bit. But yeah, that's really blowing my mind. Not even intentionally vibe coding, like just going there and putting in simple prompts to visualize things as simple as infographics. And I'm just giving it data and it's like creating microsites for me in extremely beautiful ways. So I love Claude right now. That's becoming my new best friend. But yeah, ChatGPT, Claude, Midjourney. Midjourney has replaced a lot of my favorite animation and art tools.
Okay.
Runway used to be one of my favorites, but yeah, pretty much those and 11 Labs is definitely one of my favorites. And then some of the supplementary ones, I would say CapCut, of course, is a great one to bring it all together.
What are you liking about Claude right now? Because ChatGPT is about to version 5 model. So why do you still like Claude better?
Claude is just like incredible. I feel like such a nerd talk, but like the things that I've been seeing this week, I had to work on I'm not an engineer. I don't have a background in coding. So I was able to code an entire website flow from beginning to end. I was able to, I just came up with the entire idea that I didn't even think I could even put together. I blew my entire team's mind. They like jokingly briefed me into something and I was like, haha, sure, maybe.
Yeah.
And like put it together. We won a whole project because of this like simple proof of concept. So it was pretty crazy.
How did you put that together? If you could just walk me through it.
It was a process to create a image prompting process, like a quiz prompting process that would output into like a result type thing. I was just meant to start with an API. and it was meant to like dump into an Excel sheet just to show it could work. I was actually doing a talk that week, and someone at the talk was demonstrating that they could vibe code. So then I saw what he did and I thought, okay, let me give it a try. I think a really good thing to do is just go into ChatGPT and go on there and go talk it through. Say, this is my goal. This is the type of app that I'm trying to build. Walk me through it. This is my goal. Give it context. Or you could just literally start on Claude. That's what I ended up figuring out. I started on Claude and I took that and then it gave me like the preview of everything I wanted to create. And you could launch it from Claude. It gives you pretty much the entire view of what the app looked like. But I took that code and then I pasted it into Replit. Replit essentially.
That's how you say it? I called it Replit.
I'm saying everything wrong constantly. Once again, not an engineer.
Is it Zapier or is it Zapier?
Exactly. And then there's Diffie or Defy. Like hey, you know about that one? Yeah, no. Exactly. So there's that. Between Claude, just copy and paste and launch.
That's awesome. You bring up such an important point where you get to the point where all you need is to start, and then you can ask the AI how to do what it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
It's the most simplest thing because I actually do a lot of trainings around ChatGPT. And it's almost like after training one, you don't need me anymore.
I will say one thing, because I'm watching other people. I'm in a lot of places where I'm noticing that people that should know how to do these things are not doing these things or too scared to.
Yeah.
And one thing that I notice helps is just, like getting over that fear, but also that process of giving it that taste. I was giving it a lot of mood boards from Pinterest and really walking it through my inspiration and giving it like a story and a lot of guidance.
Awesome. So it sounds like you're crushing it in the AI space, really just taking a lead and adapting it so well for your personal projects and everything that you're doing. I want to speak more about the work that you do, if you can share more about Creative Currents and also simultaneously what it means to be a woman in tech as you're really putting a face to your name out into this sphere of this really cool time in AI as a woman.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Creative Currents has really been an amazing passion project of mine. I started it because I wanted to make a place that I wanted to go to. I moved to New York. I moved there 14 years ago. I moved back a little bit over 7 years ago. And I was working with that. Most of my team was in New York. And I just felt every time I would go to these type of events here, I just didn't feel like I was learning about anything that I wanted to talk to my teammates about, like my designers about. There wasn't anything immediate that I wanted to talk about. It was like tech that didn't feel applicable to what I was doing. It was stuff that was like about the moon, didn't feel like, let me learn about AI that I could apply to the design that I'm working on right now. Do you know what I mean? Now we're learning about, like, AI is it's so applicable now. Everything that we're learning about right now, it applies to all this business. Now it feels like we all can figure out how to integrate it into what we do. But before it just felt like out of touch. Anyways, that's why I made that workshop space. And it started as an experiment. And the first workshop I did was at Soho, and it was AI for creatives. I invited my friends. One was a UX designer, my friend Saida Elise, and I wanted her to show how she used AI in UX. I invited my friend Wallonius. I wanted him to show how he used AI as a screenwriter. He ended up being the guy who made the song PBL Jersey.
No, I don't.
And then I invited my friends Paperwater, and they showed how they use AI for their songwriting process.
Cool.
And they're amazing in their own right. And it was like such a hit. I was so lucky for that to be such an amazing starting point.
Yeah.
And then the second one I did was neuroplasticity for creatives, which is so weird, but it was great. And then after that one, everyone was like, maybe you should just keep doing AI for creatives. And 2.5 years later, I just kept doing that. And I've experimented with AI for film, AI for music, AI for art in tons of different formats where I just kept doing AI for creatives in different routes. And it's been a very rewarding process, and it's forced me to be hands-on and keep learning.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I've been able to layer it on into my career. And it's been a very giving for me and for everyone else. And as a woman in tech, also that just consistent. It's pretty wild to see where this has gone.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing more
Absolutely.
about that.
Yeah.
What's one key takeaway that you want listeners to have as your final message and that you want to leave in this space?
Obsess. I would say what helped me was that first 3 months. It's very overwhelming to look at AI right now. When I see people look at their starting point as today, I would think, wow, I would be extremely overwhelmed. It's easier today than it was 2 years ago to get started because everything seems a little bit easier to play with. Pick a use case that's applicable to your life. Focus on that, but obsess. You have to keep focused and don't let these things about hallucinations, it's going wrong, deter you. I hear so many people get annoyed that it made a mistake. Yeah, that's fine. It's okay. Just stick to something, obsess, and you have to figure it out because this is definitely an inescapable part of our future.
Yes.
And this quote is inescapable that AI isn't going to replace your job, but if you work in tech or if it's somehow related to your job, the person who uses AI most likely is going to replace your job. And I hate to say that, but that's what's happening. So just figure it out and use Claude. Pay for it.
Pay for Claude. Jessica, I can't thank you so much for your time today. How can listeners reach out to you if they want to connect?
My Instagram is creativecurrents.ai. My personal one is jcam118. Haven't changed it since I started it. Probably should have. But creativecurrents.ai, I'd appreciate that one.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really enjoyed getting to hear about your journey and what, from I can understand, you just went all in and you figured it out along the way, which is just such a great example. So thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thanks so much for tuning into this Power Series edition of How I AI. I love being able to share these shorter, impactful conversations with multiple voices. If you enjoyed hearing from multiple guests in one episode, let me know. And if you're someone who's actively integrating AI into your workflow or industry in a way that's actually making a difference, I want to hear from you. Head over to howiaipodcast.com and apply to be a guest. You don't have to be a tech founder, you just need to be using AI in a way that's useful, empowering, and uniquely you. See you all next week. This episode was made possible in partnership with the Collective AI, a community designed to help entrepreneurs, creators, and professionals seamlessly integrate AI into their workflows. One of the biggest game changers in my own AI journey was joining this space. It's where I learned, connected, and truly enhanced my understanding of what's possible with AI. And the best part, they offer multiple membership levels to meet you where you are. Whether you want to DIY your AI learning or work with a personalized AI consultant for your business, the Collective has you covered. Learn more and sign up using my exclusive link in the show notes.